Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Between the Lines. As always, I'm Nishant, and for the first time in person, you'll see my co-hosts Dan and Jad. How you guys doing today?
Good.
And as we promised you, we got the studio set up. How are we looking? I think it's 10 out of 10. What do you guys think? Solid 10 all around, right?
10 out of 10 sounds
10 out
good
of
to
10.
me.
Sounds good to you guys. All right, we'll go ahead and jump into things. We're going to start off with some intro, maybe get a little history in today. Dan's got a special segment for us today. We got some Thanksgiving talk. We'll talk about the games from last Thursday. Hope you guys' Thanksgiving was good. Probably get into that as well. We'll get into some injury talk from last Sunday. There were a bunch of major injuries that went down. We'll talk about that for a bit. We'll talk about one team that we think could make a run for the Super Bowl. Jad will get into that later. We'll talk about some game reviews such as Packers, Rams, Browns, Ravens, and we'll touch on the Rams for a bit. And we'll end things off with a little receiver debate circle. And without further ado, I'll start off with just how was your Thanksgiving, boys? It's been a while since we recorded. You guys go anywhere? You guys stay in town?
I stayed in town. My family came. It was good to see them.
So what you did?
Pretty casual, had a little family over,
Got you. You guys eat some turkey? Maybe some ham?
I ate some turkey.
Turkey.
Question, what's your favorite Thanksgiving dessert? I gotta ask.
Dessert or dish?
Dessert. Specifically dessert.
Dessert. I gotta go with the classic apple pie.
Apple pie.
I just think if you say your favorite pie is anything other than apple, you're just trying to make the crazy pick. Keep it simple, keep it good. I think apple is the number one pie.
I don't think I've met a single person that doesn't like some apple pie.
Yeah.
It's the unanimous.
I'd have to agree with that, but the thing is, apple pie I feel is more of like a spring, summer type of dish. Something to keep it fall like pumpkin pie. Keep it classy.
It's definitely fall like. I think once you start to talk about pumpkin pie, like you start to get into like the cheesecake category. More
exactly what I was thinking.
I don't know about that. Is pumpkin pie really like cheesecake?
It's not a cake.
It's not necessarily a pie.
You got a point. It's more creamy, right? Like a cheese. I guess you could say that. Apple pie is the best pie. That's a fact.
I thought you were a pecan man. Actually.
I am a pecan man. Like pecan. I love pecan pie. I mean, I gotta love it. I'm from the South. I love me some pecan pie. I mean, it's definitely not like the best. I give it top 3 for sure.
Wow.
But you guys, let's rank like some side dishes.
All right.
I will go with mac and cheese, mashed potatoes. With like corn.
I'm gonna stop you right there. Mac and cheese is not a Thanksgiving.
I totally agree. I didn't know that mac and cheese was a Thanksgiving dish until last year, and now I feel absolutely crazy because everybody's like mac and cheese is the best Thanksgiving dish. No, I've never had it.
Mac and cheese is a dish. It's not a thing. Like I'm not eating stuffing when it's not Thanksgiving.
Right.
It's still elite. I feel like you're only saying that because Mac Jones doesn't like mac and cheese. Get out of here.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Come on now.
Mac and cheese is good.
Mac and cheese is good. That's not even.
Yeah.
All right, let's go with cornbread. You ever had cornbread before?
I like cornbread.
Yeah, I'm not a big cornbread guy. I would go. I like stuffing. I like it all, man.
Like it all?
It's that combination.
Yeah,
That's what it does.
Yeah, Thanksgiving. It was great for all of us this year. We hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. But we'll jump into football. That's what you've all been waiting for. And speaking of, actually before football, Dan, you got a little special something for us, right?
I do.
Why don't you?
I was asked to provide
a new segment.
Interesting point about history, and I'm going to go with the theory that some theorize that the Sahara Desert, where the Sphinx, the pyramids are located in Egypt, was actually at one point, at the point that the pyramids and the Sphinx were built, that some theorize that desert was actually a jungle. Was actually, filled with lakes and pools and waterfalls and like greenery.
So how does this just evaporate over time, and how does
moving on
all the trees go?
I don't know, man.
Crazy.
But that's just with due to the water erosion paths and everything on the Sphinx.
That's a great fact, and that's our history fact of the day, brought to you by Dan. And we'll probably mix those in once every couple of weeks or so. But we'll move into football finally. And as we were talking about Thanksgiving, we'll talk about some of the Thanksgiving games. We'll start off with the Bears and Lions. Did anybody from that matchup really surprise you in any way?
No one. That was a snoozer.
Yeah,
it was a sleeper.
I have to agree. It wasn't much of a showing. But the second game, I think, was a very, very good game. What are your guys' thoughts about the Cowboys-Raiders game?
You want to start off here, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, Cowboys offense always going to be good. No CD. No Amari Cooper, but Cedric Wilson and Gallup stepped up. That was interesting to see.
Stepped up a lot. Brown, number 85.
and Tony Pollard had a nice kick return. Zeke was solid. Dalton Schultz, that's what the Cowboys have. They have depth and they have a lot of offensive weapons. So I think getting to see that, in full perspective was good.
Yeah. Cowboys played good. The Raiders just played better.
Yeah.
That's what it came down. Darren Waller didn't have a great day. Derek Carr still spread the wealth a lot. Hunter Renfrow had a great game. The Raiders defense especially stepped up at the end. But you want to add anything, Jed?
Yeah, if I can step in, I think with the Cowboys, their problem has never been with their talent. I think they're always a team that stacks up their team with those high overalls in Madden. I think talent's not a problem for them. It's the coaching. That's why they've been good this year. Their coaching, surprisingly, has stepped up with the guys they brought in. And moving on to the Raiders, I found a cool stat that was actually on TV about Derek Carr. The Raiders are 5-0 when Derek Carr has thrown for over 300 yards, and 0-5 for when he's thrown for under 300 yards.
That's this year?
Yeah.
Okay. That's obviously that's saying something.
Yeah.
The run game hasn't even been that good this year. So that's definitely taking a step towards Derek Carr, just airing it out more. They have good threats. I mean, obviously losing Henry Ruggs was a big deal back last month. But you still got Darren Waller. You still got Hunter Renfrow. What's his name? Brian Edwards has stepped up a lot. Who else is in that receiving core that I maybe forget? Kenyon Drake out of the back.
Zay Jones.
Zay Jones has been a great surprise.
Yeah.
But if you guys were to give like a most surprising player or team from last Thursday, who would it be?
Ooh, I'm gonna go with the Cowboys losing.
Okay.
To be honest, because I had them winning.
Okay.
Not necessarily surprising because that game wasn't supposed to be like a landslide or anything. But I had the Cowboys winning.
I mean, I don't think that the Bills-Saints game or the Bears-Lions game either of them should have really been on Thanksgiving. I know it's like tradition, kind of. That's just not how you grow. Viewership.
One big part about this Thanksgiving was the matchups were completely horrible.
They were. I mean, the Raiders
teams were okay, but the matchups were horrible. Like, at least if you bring the Cowboys on, make them play the Eagles or even Washington, maybe even like the Packers or something.
Yeah.
But like the Bills and Saints, like I get you want to keep it in an indoor stadium, but I don't know. Maybe they should have made like the Rams or something.
Isn't it usually 2 games? Isn't it usually?
No, it's 3.
It's always 3.
You get a 12 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and 8 o'clock. Yeah.
And then if I can do my surprise, I'm going to go Pollard, actually. I think Pollard has shown that he actually could be a star.
And Zeke is out next week against the Saints.
Right. So I could see Pollard being a guy in the future.
I like that. Would you pay Tony Pollard money to be a running back 1?
I don't think we've seen enough from him yet. I think it would have been safe to not pay Zeke as early and see what Pollard can develop into and see if you can save a little money because it's never smart to pay running backs.
Yeah.
So I think the better move would have been not paying Zeke as early. Mm-hmm. But I like me some Pollard.
Yeah. Anything else to add on?
No.
Right.
I mean, Pollard was good in the preseason that one year when Zeke was kind of debating his contract with Cowboys ownership. So. Yeah. And I thought at the time, I'm like, Pollard might be legit. Like, Pollard, he's either going to be a trade piece or he's going to be a good RB2. Or if they don't decide to sign Zeke and he, holds out, he's going to be a good RB1 for the Cowboys. But
he's a weapon guy.
Yeah, so this Thanksgiving was probably not one necessarily to remember. But when we're talking about Tony Pollard, we look at Zeke, maybe a guy that you really don't want to pay running back 1 money. And the running back that got paid this offseason, Christian McCaffrey, just got put on injured reserve today. And we'll go on to that. We'll talk about some injuries that happened, especially last Sunday and even on Thanksgiving. We'll start with CMC. He suffered, I think it was an ankle injury. Was it ankle or was it like hamstring?
Ankle.
Ankle, okay. So he suffered an ankle injury in Sunday's loss against the Dolphins, and he just got put on injury reserve. He's out for the year. What are your guys' thoughts on CMC? Is he like, what's going on? Is he like not considered like? Yeah, I mean, Dan, I know what you said. The best ability is availability.
Yeah.
And he hasn't been available. So just give your thoughts.
He's just such a good player. I mean, I don't want to say he's washed. I don't want to say he's been hit with the RB curse where, the average span of an RB in the league is like 2 years.
Yeah.
But, I mean, this is now the second time he's been put on the IR this year alone. Yeah. Last year, he was put on the IR. Yeah. He's just caught a lot of bad breaks. And, it's going to get to the point where it's like, can he really be playing at the, to the volume that he has been?
Yeah. Jed, you want to touch on CMC for a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, CMC doesn't take too many actual rushes, like maybe like 10, 15 between that, like not like elite running back rushes. He gets most of his bread through the air.
Yeah.
So I think that should technically help his career. Like what we see with Alvin Kamara, that's helped him not get injured because he's catching the ball, 4 times as much as he's running with it.
Exactly.
So I think that could help him recover from this year. But
Okay.
I think it'll be a down year. I think he'll be back next year. He doesn't take too many.
What if they like moved him to receiver almost, or maybe they?
Slot?
He's way too small.
He is that's
the
small.
problem.
He's like 5'10".
He's like, yeah, but he's
He
not
could
like
be a
as,
nice slot guy.
No, he
I
could be.
think
He
he's
looks like he could be a nice slot guy, but
still like
I'm not sure.
205 or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I wouldn't mind that. Who's their backup? They have Chuba Hubbard. They just drafted him.
Hubbard.
So
Maybe have him take like maybe 7 a game, average-ish
McCaffrey.
rushes. Yeah.
yeah, and then just the rest of the air.
maybe put him in a Debo Samuel role.
But like, yeah,
It's positionless.
Yeah.
It's like the
Right.
NBA.
NFL is really becoming like
McCaffrey was I think not the first, but he was
Yeah.
one of the guys who like remember when he was all pro as like a receiver and
Yeah.
So like that's just unheard of. I mean, and so he could really step into that role. I think.
Yeah, the
Just to,
Panthers are really struggling right now. They've lost 2 straight now after beating the Cardinals.
Cam's not
sort
that
of-
guy.
I don't know. He's been struggling a little bit. Do you think they go to PJ Walker or do you think they stick with Cam?
I think you gotta stick with Cam because, like, if anything, they look like they're having fun. I think their fans are having fun. I mean, it's a washed season. Their guys hurt. I mean, just stick.
I mean,
with Cam.
technically they're still in the playoff picture, but with the way things are looking now, I mean,
yeah.
I thought that team was going to be a playoff sleeper, especially with the
3-0.
weapons they had coming in. They had a new QB with Sam Darnold, Christian McCaffrey was coming back healthy. You had DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, and Terrace Marshall off the on the outside.
Right.
I mean, a pretty disappointing team, and now they're sitting at 5-7 through 12 weeks.
I want to say 5 and 7.
5-7 or 5-6, one of those. But I think last week was a really tough loss to Washington. Yeah, especially following a great win against the Cardinals. Yeah. But we'll move on to another injury that happened yesterday. Debo Samuel went out yesterday after taking a hard hit. He suffered, I think it was actually a groin injury that he suffered.
Yeah.
So he's expected to miss, I think, 1 or 2 weeks, according to some reports that came out. How do you guys think that affects like the 49ers playoff chances? Because they're making a good push. They've won 2 out of their last 3 games.
Well, that offense is interesting. I think it's been really tailored to Debo a lot this year. So with him out, he's so versatile. He can be a wide receiver, running back, obviously. So I just think, look more towards Ayuk, look more towards Elijah Mitchell. They might look to go with more of a committee approach in the backfield, maybe add in some Jeff Wilson. But I would say in terms of their playoff chances, I think Debo Samuel has been their best player this year. I don't even think that's a debate.
For sure.
So, yeah, I mean, when you lose your best player, your playoff chances are going to go down. Simple as that.
Yeah, but you also have to get guys like Brandon Ayuk to step up. He stepped up really good against the Vikings yesterday.
We'll
He had a
see. He's
great
been
game.
better recently.
Yeah, for
He's
sure.
been better
George
recently.
Kittle's obviously been George Kittle. Best blocking tight end in the league. He stepped it up in the receiving game. You want to add anything about Debo Samuel's injury?
Yeah, I mean, non-Patriots, he's probably my top 3 favorite players to watch. I love how he's just all over the place. Putting me on a field with some flags, I think I'm playing a lot like Debo, so I like that skill set that he's got there. And he's doing a lot for that 49er offense. And even when he's not having the ball, just having him out there and having him moving around in motion, I think that just
Great
takes a
decoy.
lot of pressure off the rest of their roster. So not having him there, maybe Ayuk steps up. Maybe in the long run this is good because Ayuk can start figuring it out because he's been disappointing. And I think if Ayuk can start figuring it out, that offense is much more scary. So for this season, it kind of sucked for them not having Debo for a while here, but we'll see how it turns out.
Yeah, they did spend that first round pick on Ayuk a couple years back.
He was
So
good.
we'll see how that plays out. I'll move on to some other injury talk. We'll go to a Dalvin Cook out in Minnesota. Suffered a torn labrum and a dislocated shoulder on the same shoulder, his left shoulder, after he got hit. But what do you guys think this does to the Vikings, they're struggling a good bit? Kirk Cousins has been pretty good, but just the team in general has struggled. I mean, Justin Jefferson, he's physically, you can see it on his face when Kirk doesn't throw him the ball or when it's a bad pass.
Yeah.
He's out there he's throwing his helmet. He's out here doing stuff like that. He's getting mad. Do you think the chemistry's off? Do you think Zimmer may be gone? What do you think is going on over there in Minnesota?
I'm kind of seeing it like a bit of an Odell situation.
That's what I was about to say.
Like from the Giants.
Exactly.
I hope Jefferson doesn't leave because I think that Vikings team is good. And I think, as far as Dalvin Cook, he hasn't been great this year. He hasn't been the Dalvin Cook of last year.
Yeah.
But for their playoff chances, a player with the impact and the presence that Dalvin Cook has, it definitely hurts their playoff
Yeah,
chances.
definitely.
One of the best running backs in the league. I'd say still, as far as volume. But, yeah, I mean, I think that Jefferson's situation is interesting to monitor. Kirk Cousins might be gone, but I don't know, because he's been pretty good this year.
He has 2 years left on that contract. They're paying him $66 million.
Somebody's going to have to go for the Vikings.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be Zimmer, but it's going to be either Zimmer.
I think it should be Zimmer.
Yeah.
It's not
I
like
don't
it has
think
to
it
be. It
I think it
should
should, but
be.
it
He
won't.
is not a good coach, especially. I mean, he has been, but as of right now, he's not. He's too old school. They're not mixing it up, and they're still calling these 1-2 yard runs. And when it doesn't work, he throws play action pass on third down when everyone knows it's coming. It's just not fun football, especially. I wouldn't want to watch that if I were a Minnesota fan. Yeah, so any other injuries that we may have missed out? I know DeAndre Swift got injured against Chicago.
Yeah, I would have cared like 5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
When fantasy was still a thing in my head, so.
So
Move on
fantasy,
from that.
I mean, you want to
Yeah, let's not get
not?
into
Alright.
it. Yeah, I'd rather not.
2-9.
Yeah, 2-10 actually, but
2-10. Oh my god.
that's what it is.
All right, but what are any other major injuries happen? I know Taysom Hill's coming back from injury. He's actually going to start against the Saints.
Still gonna lose.
Start for the Saints. But Curtis Samuel and Logan Thomas come back for Washington this week. Actually, if Washington wins, they're in 7th place. They get that wild card.
Really.
Happy for you, man.
Yeah.
I mean, the Eagles and the Cowboys both have to lose, though, this week.
No, they did.
No, but next week, too.
Oh, I mean, as long as Washington wins today, they're
Oh,
7th
yeah,
place.
yeah, this week. That's right,
Who
that
did
Monday.
They play
play?
Seahawks
That's a tough game.
on Russell's birthday too.
Mm.
Any score predictions? What do you guys think? Washington's on a 2 game right now.
Oof.
I could honestly see Washington taking it.
I
I
can't.
have no idea what's wrong with the Seahawks.
I think Russ cooks. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm gonna go 23-17 Seahawks. But I can see the Washington
I'm
football
gonna go
team
like
taking it.
24-16 Seahawks. I'm confident in my football team, but I think Russ is gonna cook.
You know, I'll go 13-20. Just an ugly game.
Okay. Who wins? Seahawks?
I'll go football team. You know, I don't like the Seahawks. I don't know what's going on.
I think they just need to let Russ cook. But we'll see tonight. But I know you said that you weren't really happy about fantasy, but I know there is something you can be happy for, and I'll let you talk about that, Jag. Go ahead.
Oh, I already know what you're talking. I mean, these New England Patriots, man. These New England Patriots are the single best team in the AFC, and I will say that without a single doubt in my head. I mean, there is not a hole on that roster. Watching when the offense isn't cooking, the special teams puts the defense in a position where where a position where if they make a mistake, it doesn't even matter because they got them inside the 10 on the opponent's sideline. I mean, wow, it's a fun team to watch. I mean, it's old New England football. It's making my weekends better after watching fantasy every week. So, I mean, I love the team. We have the Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year candidate. I mean, Bill Belichick, Coach of the Year.
Oh, I'd have to give Bill Belichick Coach of the Year right now.
I mean,
Sure.
I love this roster, and you could not tell me a single hole on this team.
Yeah, I really to be honest, I really couldn't tell you the whole with that team. I think they're one of the most complete teams, if not the most complete team.
The
in
most
league.
complete team.
I'd have to toss in a team like Cincinnati in there. Even though they may not be the
Bit
best
inconsistent.
I still think that they're probably a top 5 complete team.
My
They
problem
have
with that
a great
is-
quarterback now. They have a great core, young core in the backfield, even outside. Defense is manageable, while inconsistent, but I think Cincinnati's got to be top.
That's the problem. I've watched it in all. I know you guys don't really understand, but like watching a team make a Super Bowl run, you need good games for 4 games in a row to win in the playoffs. That's what it takes.
Of course.
And even when the Patriots weren't doing so hot, they were losing by field goals every week. So I have not, other than this, maybe the Saints game, which is just weird. They haven't had one terrible game this entire season.
How much did they lose to the Saints by?
Like 10.
Okay.
I think it was weird. It was I don't know. But like we're rolling 7 games, 6 game. I think it might be 7.
6 games.
6 games?
6 games.
6 game win streak. I mean, they're hitting on all cylinders. They're having fun. I've watched a lot of reports from people that know the actual roster, and they think they like each other more than it's ever been. I mean, I love it, man. Football's fun again.
Max stepped up. He's been a leader.
Oh, he's a rookie of the year.
That
period.
offense is fun to watch, even though they don't have the most electric guys. They got guys that do the job.
Yeah.
That's the main
I
thing.
mean, Kendrick Bourne's pretty electric.
He is pretty fun to watch. I think their defense is my favorite part about watching.
And that will bring me to my next point. I remember maybe a couple episodes ago, we had a little discussion. I said the Patriots are an elite defense. I said that as a fact, and Nishan said, "What'd you say? You don't totally agree with that yet, or something?" These Patriots are the single best defense in the league.
I mean,
They are.
It's been like, I remember that episode. That was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I remember I said they weren't elite. I still don't think they're elite.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because they have not played a top tier offense. I don't think the Titans are a top tier offense, especially without Henry Brown and Julio. Tannehill's not an elite quarterback, so you can't really. If they beat a team like, if they go into Kansas City and they can knock off the Chiefs like that, like a 36-13 win, I'll call that defense elite.
Yeah.
See, but the thing there is, like, even though their competition isn't as good, when that competition plays other teams, they still put up over 10 at least, right? Like, they are not letting people
that's like
score.
the transitive property stuff. You beat the Bills. The Bills beat blank. That means we're
No. I'm saying just points gap.
Okay.
I'm saying how many I'm scoring compared to how many you're scoring.
Okay.
They are not letting teams score. It'd be different if they're like close losses.
Yeah.
Like they are blowing these teams that they should beat out of the water. That's the problem that a lot of elite teams have. They don't beat the bad teams like they should. Like the Bengals, for example. Like they take a couple of easy losses, they should be winning.
Mm-hmm. I think that Browns game was a really good game to sort of show how good that defense is. 45-7, right?
100%. Yeah.
That was a great defensive show. I have to give them that.
And they're not even defense. Their O-line complete. Matt Jones was only rushed 3 times that game.
Yeah, and that's with Myles Garrett active.
Yeah.
And,
Come on now.
And Clowney coming off the other edge.
Uh-oh.
That's
Also,
scary.
the Browns are also a really good rush team against the run, and the Patriots ran all over them. I mean, this Tennessee game, I know they're probably the worst matchup, I'd say, for the Patriots in the AFC. Just with how they play, they've got a lot of size there, and every time I watch Patriots play Tennessee, there's something about it. Vrabel is not scared of Bill, and I think they're probably the worst matchup for the Patriots. Like I'd say over the Chiefs, over the
I
Bills.
think if Henry comes back for the playoffs, that's a future AFC championship.
Yeah.
Right there.
I would not like
Titans
that.
will take that to heart, especially Vrabel. He's a former pass player.
He is.
I mean, they'll get AJ Brown healthy. They'll get guys on the defensive side back healthy, and I think that defense could come back even stronger.
If I was to pick one team not to play the Patriots, it'd be the Titans.
I like that. I mean, I'm gonna continue being on the bandwagon, but the Bengals, you can't sleep on the Bengals.
All right.
No, I think they're too young.
Too young.
Still too young.
Young coach.
Yeah.
Never
Like
been-
the Titans have been to the playoffs 2 times past.
They made runs.
Like the 2 times that they've gone
the
to
4 years.
they won the division the past 4 years, and they've gone to the AFC Championship the past 2. Or no, they didn't go last year.
No, not last year. 2 years ago they went.
Yeah,
against
2 years they
Chiefs.
went. But I like the Patriots too. I think you got a good coach, you got a good defense, your quarterback is a good game manager. Don't take that as an insult because I think he's
a great game manager.
He's been really good.
If I take Mac Jones. All right.
I take Mac. I mean, he's still going to be young. He's going to make rookie mistakes, and he still will continue to, for the rest of this season. And then you have guys on the outside, receivers and running backs stepping up. I mean, that's exactly what you want in a Super Bowl team. It kind of reminds me of the Eagles Super Bowl team a little bit, with good coaching, with a good defense, and with not necessarily no-name guys, but guys that aren't necessarily studs on the offensive side
guys
stepping
had,
up.
Alshon Jeffrey.
Yeah, Alshon Jeffrey, Aguilar, LeGarrette Blount, like guys that aren't necessarily Pro Bowlers or all pros, but
Terrible.
solid receivers that are stepping
You don't like that comparison? Oh, he just remembers that game.
We should have
I don't even remember watching that game. What happened?
Philly special.
Philly special.
Yeah, you're right.
That was an ugly
I
game.
remember that game.
Yeah, of course you do.
Yeah, I couldn't really. But
I thought of something here. Would you, hearing all this Mac Jones game manager talk, would you take Mac Jones over Jalen Hurts right now?
yes, I would.
Yes.
No doubt.
Well, what about moving into the future?
Yes, I would. Jalen Hurts.
You're not fighting with me here.
He would
would.
say it too. He
I
would
would.
take Mac Jones.
Wow.
He hates
kidding
Jalen
me?
Hurts.
I don't hate Jalen Hurts. I like Jalen Hurts a lot. I just don't think he's talented enough to be a franchise quarterback necessarily.
So do you think they go to someone in the draft, or do you think they trade for Russ? Like, what do you think?
I hope they don't go to somebody in the draft because I've mentioned this
Maybe the
before.
same cycle. Over
I don't think that anybody in the draft this year is good enough to be a huge upgrade over Hurts. And I think if you draft somebody this year, you're gonna have to either draft somebody again or trade for something. Like, it's just not gonna work out.
Yeah.
If they get the opportunity to trade for Deshaun Watson, kind of at a discount where they're not giving up like 4 first-round picks, I would probably do that.
Yeah, we had a Deshaun Watson segment earlier where we gave like our best like suitors earlier, and Philly should be the ideal situation.
Yeah.
They have 3 first-round picks that they can easily give up for Watson, and I think they're just a QB away from being a playoff team.
I think
they
so
have
too.
They have a decent defense. I think you could probably improve in the draft, maybe free agency. But if you get Deshaun Watson, your playoff team, like they're sitting at 5-7 right now.
Yeah, 5-7.
If they have Deshaun Watson on the team instead of Jalen Hurts, they're sitting at 7-5.
At least,
Maybe
I 100% agree. There's been games where we would have won if we didn't.
definitely.
And I like Jalen Hurts a lot. I really do hope he's the guy.
They beat the Giants yesterday with Deshaun Watson.
Easily. But as far as like natural talent, quarterback talent, arm strength, stuff that you can't necessarily teach or really get better at this point in your career, like Jalen Hurts just doesn't really have that. He has the intangibles and stuff, which I love, and I hope he's the guy. He's a great leader, but I just don't.
NFL has been so weird. Like you have the Eagles losing 13-7 against the Giants, but last week they beat the Broncos by 17.
Yeah.
And the Broncos beat the Chargers by 20.
I do think that
bipolar
last game, like the past couple games, the Eagles were running the ball. They were using Hurts in short passes, read options, and they kind of
out yesterday.
Yeah, they kind of went away with that yesterday.
And that's things that Sirianni's going to have to learn as he progresses as a head coach. He's done a good job. They've already won more games than they did last year, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, he's done a great job as a first-year head coach, especially with a team that probably wasn't going to be as good as a team like Dallas coming into this year, but they've stepped it up. I'd have to give it to Sirianni.
Who is I know the Patriots obviously have the longest winning streak right now, but who's second? It's like a big curious. Maybe the Colts.
Colts, they lost to the Bucks.
The Colts just lost.
Yeah.
The Colts just
They were on it. Maybe the Dolphins.
Dolphins are on a 4-game. No, they're on a 5. They're on a 6-game.
No, they're not.
5. They're on a 5-game.
I want to say 5
5
or 4.
streak.
Yeah,
They started 1-6 and they're 5-6. 6
Are they on a 5-game win streak?
they're on it.
I think so.
I mean,
I saw it on CBS Sports.
Because,
the
yeah.
Instagram page.
That's wild. The AFC East, man.
Win
has
4.
just
They're on a 4-game.
They're on a 4-game.
Yeah, they're on a
Patriots
4-game.
Chiefs are on a 4-game. Yeah.
Chiefs is fake. Mickey Mouse 4-game.
Why are you pointing at me?
Yeah, so I mean that just shows how inconsistent everyone has been.
Yeah, I mean you got teams like the Bucks losing to teams like the Saints without a quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean the Bills lose to the Jaguars, and it's been
The
a weird
Jets
year.
have
Very
let
weird.
334 points against them.
How many games have they played in?
11,
That is just wild.
334.
Patriots have 190.
30.
Jesus Christ, how many? That's 30 points per game. That's awful. It's like
That
playing a
is
Madden
wild.
game. Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
At what point do they move?
Yeah.
At what point?
I know.
Well, we'll touch on some other games too. Another big game happened yesterday was the Packers defeating the Rams. It was a blowout. I'm gonna keep it real. Like it was a close game on paper,
Yeah.
but that was a blowout. The Packers completely controlled that game right from the get-go. Rodgers had a great game. He ran for a touchdown, threw for 3. AJ Dillon stepped up a ton. He had a receiving touchdown. He really took the load off of Aaron Jones, who came back, didn't really do a ton. Equinemius St. Brown had a great game. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, obviously Devontae Adams had his usual day. But
MVS had a day.
but the Rams on the other side, what's going on with them? They've lost their last couple games. They're sort of on a bit of a skid. What do you guys think's going on with them?
I don't really know what to think. It was ever since they got Von Miller. Maybe they let like the expectations. I think we were saying like we weren't saying it, but we were thinking like Super Bowl lock, NFC Championship lock. Maybe they let all that kind of get to the head. They picked up Odell, picked up Von Miller, like big moves that were supposed to drastically improve their team, and they really
Yeah,
haven't.
they're 0-3 since they got Von Miller.
They've gotten worse. Yeah. So
If you were like, would you still say the Rams are a Super Bowl contender?
yeah.
Yeah. Let's not count them out yet.
Would you put them over the Bucks?
I would not.
Or not?
No. When you have a guy
Not
like
with
Brady
Brady.
and a team like that, you can't.
Okay.
No.
But to be fair, Brady has. So I mean, you did say a couple episodes ago that Brady's the type of guy that he's like the Jazz, or the opposite of the Jazz. Not great in the regular season, but playoff time,
Post mode.
he steps it up, right?
Yeah.
But as of right now, Brady's been horrible. The last 3 weeks he's been
He'll figure it out.
completely
I mean,
horrible.
There's no point even talking about it.
How many years have we said this? Tom Brady's washed. Tom Brady's done.
Off
This
the
is his
cliff.
last year.
Yeah.
Like,
He'll be
and
fine.
then he comes in the playoffs and he wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's just not.
he's getting older, and at some point, maybe you say it and it's true, but I don't think this is the
He
year.
finds a way to win, and he finds a way to get players to play better.
Yeah. But I think this is the year that Aaron Rodgers proves that he can be.
All right.
He is that guy.
We'll see.
Coming off an MVP season, he has a broken toe. His foot's all messed up. I mean, he's been lights out. I
Let's
think
just see if
that
he can
game,
get to the Super Bowl.
that game against the Cardinals, when he didn't have his top 3 guys and he won that game, knocking them off their undefeated season, and they've just been on an uphill slope for them, for the Packers at least. They're going crazy. I'd have to put
Regular
them at-
season, especially this year, regular season does not matter. I mean, it's just
that's a good point.
no one's consistent. I think the biggest thing right now the team should be trying to do is just find a formula that works. Like, I know the biggest thing for a team is to find what you want to do. Even if you're not doing it, find out, like the Patriots, run the rock.
Yep.
Or play action. That's all it is.
Yeah.
I like
Ravens, run it with Lamar. Like, you need a real go-to formula.
Yeah. And speaking of Lamar, the Browns Ravens is kind of a snooze fest. Or not really a snooze fest. You had 4 picks by Lamar. What were you guys thoughts following that game? Do you think the Ravens should be concerned about that, or was it just like a fluke game?
Go ahead.
I think about 10 of 8, 5 of the people watching this right now, as they know, I was down 1 point going into that game. My opponent, the other 2-9 team in our league, had Mark Andrews and I had Lamar, and I'm down 1 point. So I'm like, oh, Lamar's got to score 2 more points than Mark Andrews. That's not too hard. Then he threw a pick, and he got up to 3, so I was like, oh, I won. Then he threw a pick, and I was at like .96. I remember. We were actually on Xbox when it happened. So I'm like, oh, it's fine. He's a little slow. Then he threw another pick. And I'm like, oh, this is a bit worrying. Then he threw some stupid launch to Mark Andrews that somehow he caught. Then Theo starts winning. So I'm like, oh, it's fine. Lamar will probably figure it out second half. Threw 2 more picks. So I don't know how much more I can really handle of this fantasy stuff. I'm 2-10. I mean, I'm not gonna say all the stats right now, but I shouldn't be 2-10. I mean, I don't know. I can't really get into it. It kind of hurts, but what can I say?
I think me and Dan are sort of chilling at the top of our divisions, but after Jad's sort of depressing little sad story, we'll go into our main segment where we'll talk about some receivers. I'll name about 10 receivers. You guys will give me your top 10. That sound good?
Yeah.
All right, so I'll just so as you guys remember, last episode or 2 episodes ago, we did a QB talk with some of our friends. But we'll do that with receivers now, obviously without those 2 other guys. In the same format, you maybe get like a little bit less time, maybe just explain why they're ranked where they're at. So we got 10 guys here. I'll give you a guy. Just tell me where they're at in your top 10. Start with DeAndre Hopkins. The guy's been around maybe in everyone's top 10 for the past 5-7 years. So.
Yep, totally. I hate to put him here, but just because he's been injured this season and he hasn't been super consistent, and getting like the target share and the catches that he had been in years past, he's not necessarily like that bona fide #1 guy anymore.
Yeah.
As the Cardinals kind of look to like a committee approach, but I hate to put him here. I'm gonna actually put him at 7 because just for all the reasons I mentioned. I mean, he's not getting as many catches, he's not getting as many targets as he used to, and he's battling with injuries.
Yeah.
Maybe he goes back up, but he's getting a little bit older, and I'm a little bit worried about Hopkins. I'm not gonna lie.
Where'd you put him there?
I mean, after hearing that, this might be a little shocking, but I'm going 2. I mean, he was the best receiver in the league last year, and I've got him on my fantasy team, so I know he's got a couple of injuries holding him out, but I don't think I think the talent will still be there.
Yeah.
I think next year or eventually when he comes back, he'll be fine. So I'm gonna I can't take him out of the top 3 just yet.
Yeah, I'm gonna put him right in the middle of you guys. I got him at 4 right now. I still think he's a top 10 guy, obviously a top 5 guy when he's fully healthy. Injuries have sort of killed him. I would have had him at 2 if he were fully healthy and played like last year.
Fully healthy, obviously. Yeah, but a whole different question.
Yeah, DeAndre Hopkins has been a guy that will probably come back stronger when he's fully healthy. Move on to our next guy who we talked about earlier this year. We'll go to this segment. We'll go to Deebo Samuel.
Yeah. I like Deebo a lot. Everybody knows that. I'm going to put him probably a little bit higher than he deserves to go, but I'm going to put him at 4. He's been pretty much the whole San Francisco offense this year. He's been insanely versatile. Wide receiver, running back, can do all types of stuff, end arounds, can run a lot of different routes, deep, short, mid. He's just so versatile. So for that reason, I'm going to put him at 4.
Yeah. Where would you have him, Jed?
I do like me some Debo, but I'm thinking pure wide receivers for this question. I mean, impact, he's going higher, but for a pure wide receiver, I'm going to put him at 7.
Okay.
I mean, I like the guy, but...
I like that. I had him around that. I had him at 6. So I still think, he's that offensive threat that you'll see with Cordell Patterson. We saw with Devin Hester. He's a gadget guy, exactly. So we'll go into my favorite receiver in the league. We'll go with Terry McLaurin. Where would you guys have him at?
Terry McLaurin was tough to rank as well. I'm gonna put him at 10. Not much to say, that hasn't played with a great quarterback. He's a good player, slant boy, but I'll keep him at 10.
All right. Where would you have him, Chad?
I want to put him at 10 just because of the present company that we have here, but I'm going to go 9. I mean, what he's done with just barely quarterbacks throwing him the ball, I mean, it's pretty impressive. I know you gave that contested catches stat, which I'm sure you'll bring up in a second, but hey, I'll put him 9.
Yeah, I also have him 9. I'm not going to sugarcoat. He's not a top 5 receiver by any means, but he's top 10.
Yeah.
You guys have to
I
agree
put
with
him
that,
top
right?
10, yeah.
Yeah, I think especially with guys like AJ Brown and DK not having the best year, and I think Terry McLaurin's QB situation has been considerably worse than those two guys, even with the Seahawks having Geno Smith. But I think he's been that guy that the Washington can just rely on whenever they need a third down conversion. He and DeAndre Carter have been two guys that have been really surprising this year.
DeAndre Carter, yeah.
McLaurin's really stepped in, as you said, that contested catch rate. He leads the league with 23 contested catches this year. And that's, I think, the next place guy has, 16 or 17. I mean, he's like 6 foot, 180 pounds, and you're leading the league in contested catches. That has to say something, right? And his route running's been top 10 this year. His hands have been really good. And
Fast.
He's insanely fast.
He's a good all-around receiver.
Yeah, I think I don't want to say this, but if he were on another team, like where he has a good quarterback, he would be a top 5 receiver.
Yeah,
that's a hot take, but I would put him over 4 of these guys that I have ahead of him.
Yeah.
In my top 10.
Okay.
I don't know.
That's tough to say, but I mean, maybe a couple years down the road when Diggs, Hopkins, Adams start to age.
Yeah. He's gonna step in.
I could see that. Yeah.
I can see. But then you got guys like this next guy coming in who'll probably be a top 5. I think you think he's top 5. That's Jamar Chase.
I know I said that. I know I said I'd argue top 5. That was like 2 weeks ago, and since then Chase hasn't really done too much. He's had a couple hot games, really good games, and I would keep him in the top 10. I don't think it's a debate. I think he has been a top 10 receiver, even though he's been a bit inconsistent and not great as of late. I got him at 8. Rookie receiver. I do want to have pretty much a whole show where we pick a franchise. We could pick one player at every position.
Okay.
Wait for that. We'll probably have our buddy on for that one. But just every single position in football. And I'm going to say this early. I would probably take Jamar Chase to start a franchise, pick one receiver. I'd probably go with Chase.
Okay.
But years down the road, he's going to be a great receiver, top 5. For now, I have him at 8.
Okay. What about you, Jab? Where would you have Jamar Chase at?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Dan. I'll put him at 8 too. I mean, he's been the second best offensive rookie this year, and I mean, it's the inconsistency that's killing him.
At this point, potentially. At this point, I might.
They said it was crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay. 2 weeks ago, when Jamar Chase was putting up 150 in 3 touchdown games, it was Jamar Chase.
He's not going to keep that up.
Yeah. But it's a little easier when you're Mac Jones stuff check down.
He is the rookie checkdowns. No.
Moving on.
Yeah, so moving on, we'll have one of the fastest guys. Or I had Jamar Chase at 7. I think it was around where you guys had him. But we'll move on. We'll go to Tyreek Hill, who's probably been a top 5 receiver the past couple of years. Where would you guys have him at?
I got him at 3. Yeah. Speed, underrated route runner, underrated hands. I think he's a really good receiver. I got him at 3.
Yeah, I got him at 3 too. Where you have him, Jed?
I have him 4. To be honest, I'm not super high on Hill. I think it's the same thing with McLaurin. I think if McLaurin was in Hill's spot, he would be way higher. So I think Hill is kind of I don't know the word for like someone that's
a system guy.
A system guy. He's helped by circumstance. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna put him at 4. I mean, but that speed, can't teach that.
To be fair, he's also hurt by circumstance because he has the best tight end in the league alongside.
Yeah, all they do is throw it. So
that's a good point. But we'll go into I think my number 1 receiver, and that's Devontae Adams.
Unanimous.
Where would you guys? You guys got?
I gotta have Adams at
It's
one.
pretty obvious.
There's been guys who've been really good this year, but just Devontae, best route runner in the
Especially the
year.
guy who I'm going to mention next.
He's that guy.
Cooper
He's so
Kupp.
good. Yeah.
Where would you guys have him at?
And again, yeah, Cooper Kupp, I think this year alone has obviously statistically has been the best receiver in the league. And he's really stepped up. I got him at 2 right now, just because I don't think you can deny the season that he's having. It's not a fluke. It's not a couple games. He's been super consistent, and he's made a huge impact with that Rams team and Stafford.
I have him at 2 as well. What about you, Chad?
Yeah, I've got him at 3. I like Hop's my guy before him. I think a healthy Hop is better than him.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right. Where would you guys have a guy like Chris Godwin, who's sort of having an underrated receiver season right now? He hasn't really been talked about a lot.
Yeah, certainly underrated. I got him at 9 right now.
Okay.
You know, I think if he was the number 1 receiver on a team, he could be higher because I think he's very good. But given like all the other weapons on that team, I have him at 9 just because, you know, it's impressive to do that with everybody else
Yeah,
around
for
him.
sure. What about you, Chad?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got him at 10. I think he is helped by them having all those weapons, and Brady throws the rock. He spreads the rock
He does.
to all his receivers. So I think that helps him. I think if he's in a spot like, I don't know, like
Maybe it was like Indianapolis.
somewhere where they don't have a bunch of weapons around him, I think that would hurt him statistically a bit. Maybe defense is focusing more on him. So I would put him at 10. I mean, I love the guy. I mean, I'm sure.
I had Godwin at 10 also.
Yeah.
I like that ranking. But we'll move on to Stephon Diggs, who's really having just an average Diggs season. He's on pace for over 1,200 yards.
Is he?
He is.
Wow.
Actually. Yeah. So.
I mean, 17 games though.
True.
16 games.
But where would you have Stephon Diggs at?
I mean, yeah, I said wow because I was kind of shocked when you said that. I didn't think he was having like a super great season. He's definitely stepped up recently. I have him at 5 right now. Last season, I probably would have put him top 3. But I would say this year, yeah, I got him 5.
All right.
Yeah. I'm gonna put him 6. I don't even think it's other guys outperforming him, other than one more I'll talk about later. But I like him at 6. I don't think he's been too impressive this year. I don't think any of these guys, for the most part, have been too impressive, other than like maybe Kupp and Adams.
Yeah.
So I'll put him 6.
Yeah, I had him at 5. So I still think he's top 5. But we got, I think, one more guy, and that's Justin Jefferson, who's probably one of the most electric guys in the league.
Yeah.
Definitely one of the most vocal guys. Where would you guys have Justin Jefferson at?
Absolutely, he's been super fun to watch. Kind of got off to a bit of a slow start at the beginning of the year, but definitely stepped it up recently. I have him at 6 right now.
All right, I like that. I have him at 8. Where would you have him, Jed?
I just switched him with Hill. I'm putting JJ at 4
Wow.
and Hill at 5.
You think he's a top 5 receiver right now?
I do. I think Justin Jefferson is a top 5 receiver in the NFL.
Oh man!
I mean, he's electric. I think the Odell comparison is like perfect for him.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think what he's doing with that team is just, it's fun to watch, and I like me some JJ on my fantasy team.
Mm-hmm.
But I like me some Jess.
I think Odell, when we look at like Odell in his like first couple seasons, Odell in his prime was probably a top 3 receiver of the 2010s. I'd have to like give like Antonio Brown definitely in his prime.
No.
It's a top
No.
top three,
Odell.
exciting.
Are you saying in the 2010s, or are you saying like at the time of his prime?
In the 2010s,
I disagree.
receivers in their prime. So when we look at guys in their prime, we're thinking about Antonio Brown.
Is
in
Calvin
his
gone,
prime.
man?
Antonio
Calvin, yeah.
No, Calvin,
was in his prime.
Antonio Brown, and Julio are all better
Yeah.
than him. And
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so maybe we go to at the time. Odell was a top
At
5.
the time, I would put him top
I'd say
3.
Adams is better than him.
Adams prime has been like the past 3 years.
Adams
I'd say Odell
Adams
definitely
has only had like 3.
Odell's prime was insane.
Yeah.
I mean, we think that catch was 7 years ago, last week.
That's wild.
which is wild.
That's
I feel
been
old.
it's been so long for him.
Yeah.
But that's our top 10 list. So if you guys want to go like down order and maybe give off the names that you got in order, so you guys want to do that?
Absolutely. I have Adams 1, Kupp 2, Hill 3, Samuel 4, Diggs 5, Jefferson 6, Hopkins 7, Chase 8, Godwin 9, and McLaurin 10.
All right, and we'll put these on the screen for you guys. Obviously, if you're watching on our YouTube. But Jed, let's start here, guys.
So I'm gonna go Adams 1, Hop 2, Kupp 3, JJ 4, Hill 5, Diggs 6, Debo 7, Chase 8, McLaurin 9, and Godwin 10.
All right. For mine, I got Adams at 1, Kupp at 2, Hill 3, Hopkins 4, Diggs 5, Debo 6, Jamar Chase 7, Justin Jefferson 8, Terry McLaurin 9, and Chris Godwin at 10. And that about wraps things up for all of us from Between the Lines. We hope that you guys enjoyed this first episode. If you're watching this, obviously it's on YouTube. If you're listening to it, it'll be a little bit choppy on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah,
That's what we do. We'll figure it out. Mm-hmm. We will. But as for Nishant,
Dan,
J Money.
he's been waiting to say that for a long time. We're out. Peace.
Peace.